Welcome back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. Garry, you just mentioned that since emigrating to Australia when you were 8, this is probably only the second time you've come back to Taiwan during the summer months. And I understand that you're in town for a very important leadership program that's sponsored by OCAC, the Overseas Chinese Affairs Commission. And then can you tell us a little bit about that program and also your role, what kinds of functions that you expect to deliver at the conference?
Right. The course that I'm attending at the moment is designed for overseas, the Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And each year they invite back certain members from each Chamber of Commerce to attend a leadership course.
Okay.
So the leadership course is aimed at people, the second generation Chinese or Taiwanese people that they expect to take over from the first generation business people.
Yes.
So I suppose we're seen as the future leaders of the Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce.
You most definitely are, yes.
And so the course is going to hopefully equip us with international etiquette.
Yes.
Knowledge on leadership courses, knowledge on economical outlook and so on and so forth.
Good.
And basically how to lead an organisation.
Okay.
So it's touching up on a lot of skills that I hope that everyone already have within the course.
And the program is about a week. Yeah, you're going to be in town for the entire length of the program. Exactly, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And I understand also that you're expected to deliver a presentation about your involvement with the St. John's Ambulance. Can you tell us that what you are expected to tell the attendees at the conference?
I'm actually presenting 2 seminars.
Okay,
one's for the OCAC Commission itself on Thursday.
Okay.
And the other one is to deliver a short seminar to the participants of the course.
Okay.
What I hope to achieve in these 2 seminars is to actually equip people with a basic understanding and a basic knowledge on what first aid is all about, and be able to respond in a situation of emergency. First aid knowledge and skill, as I teach all my students, is a skill that I would like everyone in the world to have, but it's a skill that I hope everyone in the world will never have to use. Especially when you're dealing with loved ones.
Yes.
It's always a time when you panic.
Of course.
But having that knowledge and having that set of skills can sometimes mean the difference between life and death.
Of course. And we all understand that OCAC is a very important organization, on behalf of our government. And also it's a very important bridge, as you mentioned, not only with the first generation, but also second and third generations of overseas Taiwanese who are planning to develop their career, their family, their life in a third country. And also the fact of the matter remains is we are also in Taiwan looking for young future generation leaders like yourself to be able to assimilate into the mainstream culture in the country that you decide to establish residency, and also the fact that become a force of influence, a factor that can make a difference in not only the society that you live in, but also in the society and between Taiwan. So in that capacity, do you anticipate yourself assuming more responsibility, whether it's at the community level among the overseas Taiwanese in Australia, or is it going to be more responsibility in the mainstream society? Maybe one day that you could run for public offices, or get involved in the public sector a little more. Is that something on the horizon for you, and is something that you and your wife have discussed?
Probably in the public office, not so much.
Okay.
I believe that I'm more of a frontline man.
Okay.
So I like to do things at a grassroots level.
Okay, good.
Being involved in this particular leadership course, I do hope to actually introduce the culture of Taiwan to the citizens of Australia.
Exactly.
Although it's currently quite well known at the moment, but I think more knowledge and more experience and more shared values would never hurt the society.
No.
And I would like to introduce our values to them and actually try to bridge the gap between the ethnic Chinese community and the Anglo-Saxon community. And I think being leaders of tomorrow, you need to show people the respect that they've earned and that they deserve. And if you can do that across the board, that will only mean a good thing for the country, the Taiwanese society, and the country itself. And hopefully that it also provide a stepping stone to a better network of countries for Taiwan.
Well, Garry, as a bicultural product, you were born in Taiwan but grew up in Australia, and you understand both societies well, and you now, in many ways, you become a bridge itself, like you mentioned, between Taiwan and Australia. Can you then share with us, since you have keenly observed the two societies, on different occasions, can you then share with us what are some of the things that we can do, more in Taiwan to help not only those in Australia, but in other parts of the world, for the younger generations, to let them know, like yourself, a little more about the latest developments in Taiwan, the changes that have taken place in Taiwan. What can we do, not only for OCAC, but also for people, the general public in Taiwan, that can help the overseas Taiwanese community to be better, ingrained in the, country, the society that they established the residency.
And I think there's two ways to attack that the issue that you've just addressed. One is through the products that Taiwan sell to the rest of the world.
Okay, good.
I think the label "Made in Taiwan" has
quality.
Has gone through a paradigm shift in the last couple of years. Many years ago, if you see the label "Made in Taiwan," people just think it's a factory. They don't know what it is. But certainly over the last couple of years, people understand that Taiwan is a country that has strong economic outlook, and that we do have the capacity to be in manufacturing, high-tech industries, and so on and so forth. I think providing the world with quality products that they expect is certainly the first step. I think the second step will then come down to tourism. Tourism basically introduces to the foreigners to what Taiwan is about, to the scenic sites of Taiwan, to the culture, the lifestyle of Taiwan, the night markets, the food, the sites, the Sun Moon Lake, and so on and so forth. I think people, if they can have an understanding of what the Taiwanese culture is like, they'll be more willing to accept it. And to complement that, we also need to ensure that the standard of citizens is maintained at a certain level. We know that there's some countries, the citizens, the quality of the citizens, the cultural qualities is fairly low. As long as we can establish that and maintain a certain level of that, when foreigners come to Taiwan, they'll look at us and go, wow, this is a place that I've never experienced. The people here are friendly, the people here are willing to help, the people here are, are lovely, so to speak. And if we can do that, they will leave Taiwan with a good image, and the more that we can do that, it'll certainly give the image of Taiwan a boost globally.
Yeah, and Garry, you just mentioned earlier that you position yourself as a front man. You like to get involved with grassroots interests, but in the words of the former U.S. House of Representatives Speaker, Thomas Tip O'Neill, all politics is local. And from our discussion today on the program, I understand that whether it's going to be in business or is it going to be first aid, rescue, mission in the future, or is it going to be public affairs, in politics or other areas, I'm sure that you have, a lot of options that you may, consider, just in case, in addition to your own areas of specialty, that you decide to get more involved in the public sector in Australia. What do you think? The bicultural background that you had when you were growing up, would that be necessarily a plus, or would that be something of an additional boost for your appeal to the voters in Australia? Or would it be something of a somewhat of an impact or minimal impact?
I think having a bicultural background is certainly a plus in my professional career. From my experience in Australia is that a lot of people, if you can blend into their particular society, they will be more willing to accept you. So the last thing that I would like to see citizens of Taiwan is that they go out to foreign countries, the US, the Canada, Australia, UK and Europe, and whatever country it might be, is they go to the country, they're not willing to accept the culture and they're not willing to accept the society, and they keep to their own little circle of friends.
Okay.
If you do that, then I believe that you're not doing the image of Taiwan, and you're never going to blend into society, and people are going to look at you and say, why did you bother? But from my experience, I'm very grateful that I was able to blend into the Australian society, and looking at the Australian society, I'm able to observe it from the Australian citizens or Australian culture perspective and the Taiwanese culture's perspective. And being able to see things from more perspectives will only
Different
be
angles.
a plus.
Yes.
It'll only be a plus.
Okay, for the remainder of the program, Garry, one final question. If there are viewers out there watching our program today and they're thinking of sending their kids, their children, go away to a different country to study, what would be the recommendations? What would be your word of advice to the parents who are watching our program today and thinking of doing the same thing for their kids like your parents did for you?
I think the most important thing is, as I said, to blend into the society. Going to the country that you choose, whether be Japan, Canada, US, New Zealand, whatever it might be, is to have an appreciation and understanding of how things operate there, to try and mix with the society. Don't just go there and hang out in your little circle of friends.
No.
But as long as you can blend, as long as you can mix, and you can actually get an understanding, and once you have an understanding of the particular culture, you actually discover things that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. And present yourself with a lot more different options.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the way that I see it, I've certainly experienced the Australian society, and I like the lifestyle, I like the way that they work, the work ethics and so on and so forth. And I must admit, I love it in Australia. Yeah,
well, certainly, Garry, it's been a pleasure meeting you and having you on the program today. And we wish you all the success in the future for you, in your career, in your family, and also, most importantly, in your volunteer work with the St. John's Ambulance. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
and
much.
Thank you for watching our program today. And I'll see you next time on Macroview Television. Thank you.